Hello, Houston. I am Carilis Perez with Stone and Fields. And today we're bringing you the Houston real estate market. Joined with me, I'm here with Toby Engel from Stone and Fields and Daniel Jara from Homestart Capital. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Toby, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Toby Engel, and I've been a Houston resident for 7 years. In these 7 years, always involved in real estate, buying, selling, investing. And now since 3 years, I've been an agent at Stone and Fields. And month by month, we've been presenting the market update, and I hope you've been following us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I am here with Daniel Jara, that is a mortgage broker, and Daniel will give us a little different input than what we have been putting together every month. So Daniel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, great. Thank you. I've been in Houston since '81. I've seen the transformation of Houston over the last, it's 40 plus years. It's amazing.
Wow.
Been a mortgage lender for 20 years at this point, and have seen some wild moves in the mortgage market. And we are a mortgage lender local. We do all types of loans: Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, big old mouthful, non-QM loans.
Okay.
So we're very versatile in all different types of loans. And I'm happy to be here and give you a market update on what's happening with the mortgage environment.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
And bilingual, I understand.
Oh, thank you. Sí, por supuesto. Hablo español. La oficina es completamente en español. So if you have any bilingual buyers, we can certainly help them from start to finish, all in Spanish.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, both of you. Toby, why don't we get started?
All right. So these are the August figures, and we have a little bit about September as well. So we've seen a fifth consecutive drop in sales from month to month. And so in August, sales were almost 70% lower than they were in August last year. Mainly due to consumer inflation and rising interest rates, of course.
Right.
And what we see is that a lot of people have been moving towards leasing rather than buying a home.
Right, right. You mentioned higher interest rates and slowing the process of people buying and more sales and so on. Do you have anything to add on that thought?
Well, during the months that Toby's bringing up, the rates have done nothing but increase, unfortunately, for the consumer and anybody keeping their eye on the market and wanting to buy that house that they've been waiting on and maybe hoping that we get back down to 2.5% 30-year fixed rates. Yeah. And I laugh because, it's wishful thinking. Now, unfortunately, it's just not reality in today's world. So every month since the beginning of the year, we've seen anywhere from 0.5 point to, in some cases, a full point increase in interest rates. So unfortunately, it's just not getting any cheaper from an interest rate perspective, and it doesn't matter how well qualified you are.
And now that you say that, this week, exactly, it went up to 6%?
Well, national average, depending on the survey that you looked at, if you look at Freddie Mac survey, Freddie Mac survey is saying 6.09, so essentially 6%. Yeah. If you look at some other more that's a weekly average survey. If you look at a current survey that comes out on a daily basis with Mortgage News Daily, they're saying 6.33.
Okay.
That's on a 30-year fixed, and on a 15-year fixed, about 5.5. Okay. So they have moved a lot.
Yes.
And if you go back a year.
Right. That's what I was going to get into.
If you look back a year, you're going to be sticker shocked. You're going to see 3% rise, at least 3%, maybe 3.5%, depending on who and what scenario you were looking at. So we'll get into it a little bit later, but we'll talk about purchasing power loss.
Right.
But my take on what the market is doing as a result of that.
Yeah.
So the beginning of the year versus today, it's been also a huge difference. Let's not go back even a year, because last year we were still busy and active and low inventory and so on. But even this year, we have noticed significant increases on the interest rates. So we started the year in the high threes?
No, 3%.
3%.
Things are still pretty comfortable. And since then, we've gone from 3 to 3.8, 3.8 to 4.7 to 5 to 5.3. And this is on a monthly basis.
Yes, exactly.
To 5.3. And it kind of held steady there for about a couple of months.
Right.
You know, 5.3. And then this month, whammo.
Yes.
Yeah, because in June there was actually a slight decrease.
Yes. So we kind of
Everyone got excited.
Yeah, everybody got excited. It didn't really help sales from what I've noticed.
Right.
But everybody got excited. It's like, oh, there's a breather. You know, the market's reacting favorably to the Fed increasing the discount rate. But after that breather, it ticked up again in July. July actually was flat with June. And then in August, it ticked up. And then here in September, boom. I mean, we're at 6% plus.
Yeah.
So people are getting nervous.
Yes.
Now, I don't think they should. And you probably have some data to support that.
Right.
But it's not a nice number to look at, you know, especially when you're active in the market.
Right. Well, I think we've been spoiled for the last couple of years. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, all over I read that people at har.com, for instance, are saying, listen, people, we're going back to what's considered normal, you know, and we've been spoiled in certain respects by this low interest in the past 2 years, although there were certainly negative aspects, you know, to buying a home in the circumstances as well. But so I think for now still we need to keep our eyes on, you know, this being pre-pandemic normal rather than we're in this crazy expensive, you know, area. And, you know, so there was one of the statistics, if you look further into the drop of sales of nearly 17% across all segments, if you look at one segment from 500,000 to 1 million, there was actually an increase in sales of 10%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like I'm trying to figure how that works.
Yes.
So obviously there's a lot of people with a lot of equity in their homes, a lot of cash in the banks as well, because we all know not everybody suffered from the COVID pandemic.
True.
I mean, a lot of people did really well, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So maybe you'll find that in this higher segment.
Right.
And then certain segments have completely disappeared, mainly below 250.
Oh, yes.
You know,
it's
lower.
very hard.
Non-existent.
So now that the average home price in Houston is still above 400,000, you know, that says a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
Can we go back to when you said normal? Let's describe what really normal is. For me, normal is, well, we're not fighting. We're not doing these multiple offer situations where actually people can take the time to go and search for a home versus being just buying whatever first, you know, whatever the first house it comes in the market, right?
So normal, you would look at inventory, for instance. So inventory was as low as 1.7% last year this time around. Now we're back to 2.5%. But that ain't normal still, you know, and it's still a very low inventory.
Yes.
And I think as soon as we start seeing above 3, 4, then, you know, you can truly speak of having a normal inventory.
Correct. And a healthy market is 6% months of inventory.
Yeah.
So that would, you know, we still have a long way to go to get there. Anything to add about, especially the normal, you know, in regards to interest rates, consumer trends?
Yeah, you know, you mentioned that we're at 2.5 months. Normal, ideally, would be 6 months. I'm not an economist, but I'd like to play one here on the podcast today. Based on what I've known and what I've seen and the studies that I've read, Texas is going nowhere but up. You know, Texas is a magnet of population shift.
Yes.
You know, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Georgia. These states are attracting population shift. There's other states that are, you know, losing them. And so I don't know that we as a marketplace are going to be able to get back to even what we consider to be normal market dynamics for quite a while. Because not only do people want to buy homes, you know, ideally, people coming out of these states and moving to Houston, they're not coming to Houston or to Texas in general without a job.
Yes.
They're coming in with relocations. And when they're coming in with relocations, we're talking about relocating managers and professionals, people that have the ability to buy homes. And so for that reason, I don't know that we can outbuild and create enough inventory to get to 3 months of inventory
Right.
quickly or 4 months of inventory quickly. So we may be in this for the long haul. You know,
Right.
the normal may be the new normal.
Right.
You know, we may be looking for the next 3 to 5 years with 3 to 6 months inventory.
Versus the 6, yeah.
Versus 6 or plus.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I don't know that we're going to be able to get there. I mean, I don't know that we'll get to 6 months in 2 years.
Right.
So what you're saying is we will be looking and dealing with a housing shortage in practice still for a very long time to come.
If you read all the economists out there from the banks, and even NAR, if you look at regional demographics, we are going to be at a deficit of housing in these regions for the long haul.
Yeah.
Right.
For the long haul.
So then if you mention the word that we don't want to speak out, bubble, you know, this shortage of inventory will always have an upward pressure on prices no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said, you know, buying a house is essential to life. Okay?
It's an aspirational
Of course.
aspect that people...
It's a dream. Yeah.
It's a dream. And for that reason, it's essential because if you don't have a dream, then what are you doing? Right. So it's essential from that perspective. You want to own a house. You want a piece of the pie. You want the American dream. And so the natural thing is to want to buy a home.
Right.
Now, if we have all these people coming in, you know, those that are sitting on the sidelines right now, whether they own a house and thinking about upgrading or they don't own a house and I'm going to buy a house, but it's got to be in the future. I'm waiting for the bubble.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the bubble. Dan, you just told me rates are up almost 3% year over year. And Toby, you just told us that inventory is increasing. You know, the bubble's coming.
Yes.
I would argue against that all day right now, based on what I'm seeing in terms of population shift, in terms of employment shift, in terms of the economic growth that Texas is experiencing. So if you're on the sidelines thinking, hey, that $500,000 house is going to fall to $400,000 now. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't think so
you know,
either.
to wait for the bubble, you know what? When you make predictions, somebody's always right.
Yeah.
I just don't, I'm not putting my bet.
That's right.
And I think to focus on the more positive aspects of you know what's happening. First of all, inventory is rising, as we said, so there's more choice, although it's still very little choice. Right. Also, the number of showings is increasing drastically. So in August, we saw an 18% increase of showings of realtors to clients, to buyers versus last year. Means they have the opportunity to show more. There's more choice, meaning buyers have a wider choice of homes.
And there's interest.
Less pressure.
Interested people, right?
And also homes will be on the market a little bit longer, but we're still talking, you know, 31 days rather than 27. So that's still a relative quick sale. And last but not least is that fewer homes are purchased above list price, meaning list price are more realistic pricing and there's no stress and you're like, how far shall we overbid rather than, you know, what's the realistic price
market
of this
value.
home. Yeah.
The days of $30,000 to $50,000 above list.
It's crazy. It's completely gamble.
Yes.
It's gambling.
Yes. And all these people putting cash on the table additionally because they didn't appraise their house, right? The house didn't appraise and all of that. And now we see more, you know, normal appraisals where, okay, this is the market value and we're not experiencing that many issues with the appraisal values like we saw last year.
I don't think I've missed an appraisal value this whole year.
No, me neither.
I don't know about y'all.
No, it's been great.
The appraisals have been matching the offers on the table.
Right.
You know, talking about the positive side on the mortgage industry side, let me give you some stats that will kind of probably blow you away. And you're going to want to hear this because I got good news based on these numbers. They're going to be really ugly. They're going to be really ugly. Last year, according to the MBA, Mortgage Bankers Association, total originations in the United States were upwards of $4.4 trillion of mortgages. Okay, so, you know, well, I don't know. Is that a lot? Is that a little? It's a lot.
Sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. Even historically speaking, it's a lot. This year, we're forecast to do, listen to this, we're forecast to do 2.2 trillion. Wow. 4.4 trillion to 2.2 trillion. Okay, that's 50% drop.
Yes.
The MBA is not forecasting any uptick in 2023. Maybe 2.1, 2.3 trillion. And they're not really expecting it to kind of uptick until 2024.
Oh.
And then that uptick is 2.5 trillion. In other words, we're not going to go back to 4.4 trillion anytime soon.
No.
So that's really bad for the mortgage industry. The mortgage industry is in disarray. You may not know this, but behind the scenes, I'm seeing it, both from my colleagues, my competitors, and even the large banks. We haven't lost enough people. There's just too many mouths to feed with not enough food on the table.
True.
I've been reading about a lot of layoffs in your industry.
They're going to come, and more are going to come. You're going to see the large employers reduction in workforces, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people at a time. Now, it hasn't happened yet because they're flush with cash, which is one thing that you said about cash buyers who only put cash. But here's the good news. The good news is you're saying there's more inventory, there's more choice. You can take a little bit more time, not a lot, but you can take a little bit more time to make a decision. Here's the good news from the mortgage side. Service is back. Service is back.
Good point.
Yes.
Service is back. We know as an industry, and certainly me at my company, we sell service. Yes. We sell the culture of the client comes first. Okay. And we are there to answer questions and put them through A through Z, all in one office, and make sure that they are fully vested in the decision process throughout the process, and there are no surprises, and we're closing on time. Let me give you an example of services back. We have a client in Dubai. They're closing on the 20th.
Okay.
We were ready 5 days ago. We were ready in 14 days.
Oh, wow.
This
That's
is a condo
Impressive.
financing. You know how hard condo financing is?
Yes.
Have you ever financed a condo? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. 14 days. On other purchases, we're doing them in 25 days. And we're doing this regularly. I'm not the only one, but service is back. Right. So now the consumer doesn't feel like, oh my God, this is a blur. It's like a snowstorm. I can't even see in front of me. I'm just grabbing at things because Toby tells me to grab with my left and Daniel's telling me to grab with my right. I'm just holding on for dear, for the ride.
True.
It's not like that anymore. Okay. Now the consumer is back in control. And that's the good news of seeing this huge drop in originations. People are really having their eye on the ball, and the ball being the clients and their service and their understanding what's going on.
And it makes a lot of sense. I would say that also on the realtor side, now it's not just, we see one house, let's write an offer.
Yeah.
Right? Now you have the opportunity to show these buyers around, to give them, this is the information for each property, and give them the opportunity to think about it. Right? Yeah. So definitely I see a difference in consumer trends, in behavior, and also on our end, giving us the opportunity also to serve. Would you agree with that, Toby?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I think in the market that we're experiencing and the market that's to come, I think it's going to be tough for all realtors, and there's going to be dropouts, no doubt. We ourselves are trying to reinvent ourselves, to keep business at a high level.
Right.
And, but that's what capitalism and a healthy market is all about, right?
Of course. And we have to adapt to what the market, presents us, right? So it's a changing market and we are used to it. I've been doing this for 15 years and I started back when the recession, 2007, 2008, 2010. So we adapt through the markets, we learn, and through the challenges, then we present new things and we explore new venues of how to market ourselves and reach to other buyers and sellers, etc. Right? So very good.
So it's all good.
It's all good.
Change happens, and it will always happen. Right?
And we will adapt, and we will keep moving forward. Right?
One thing that I want to say along the lines of change is that I've noticed a change in people's willingness to buy more home.
Yes.
So prices are up, right, year over year, almost 10% this past month. I think 9.9% or 8.9%. Prices are up and interest rates are up. So that just means you're going to pay more for the same house.
Right.
And I call it purchase erosion. Okay. So you're just going to have to pay more for the same house or buy less house. But here's the thing. I'm noticing that families or couples or even single people are willing to pay more for a house. Right. In other words, they're taking money out of certain budgets, maybe entertainment maybe travel, maybe clothing, maybe cars. Bottom line, they're taking from other areas so they can buy a home. And why? Because lifestyles have changed.
Yes.
People are working from home now.
Yeah.
Okay, they have a home office.
COVID has definitely brought about a big change in all sorts of aspects of life.
Yes.
And people are looking for larger homes, and because of COVID, but they're not going to do a step back now.
Right.
They're not going to
Yeah.
step back. I think this trend's here to stay because I remember when this happened and the freeways were empty. Remember that?
Yes, I
empty
do.
freeways.
No traffic.
No traffic. It was delicious.
Galleria
Yes.
was,
Oh my
Galleria
gosh.
610.
Piece of
It
cake.
was delicious. And then I would get to the office and yet I'd be working with borrowers who are working from home. And it was hard to adjust to that because now you're using new technology and you had never used that technology. Well, guess what? We're 2.5 years into it, almost 3.
Yes.
Okay. Now getting on Zoom is like, yeah, sure.
Oh, no more Zoom for me.
Well, no more Zoom.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
So we learned the new one, Go Teams. You know what
Yes.
Go Teams is? It's the
No.
Microsoft version of Zoom.
Oh.
And so people are like, yeah, Go Teams. Yeah, we've been using that for 2 years. Yeah. And I'm like, really? Wow. We just got used to it about a year ago. So this technology is here to stay.
Yes.
Now people are comfortable signing electronically. Not that they weren't
That's
before, but they're like, yeah, sure. Well, what else? Let's go.
Right.
No,
so
absolutely.
This working from home, wanting to play at home more, building working out in your own home so you don't have to go out
That's
to the
me.
gym. People are willing to spend more on their home now or allocate a bigger size of their budget. So you said it, the one segment that is not suffering is the $500,000 and above.
To $1 million. Yeah.
To $1 million.
That's really remarkable. 10%.
It's 10% increase?
Yeah. Versus last year,
That's a
August.
lot.
That's a huge
And
increase.
last year, August was hot.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. So and if you just look back 3 years ago, that segment was lagging really, really hard. I remember it was in the red. So, people are spending money on their homes and willingly so.
Yes.
So, again, that bodes poorly for the bubble. Okay. Because the shift in mindset of what you want in a house.
Right. So it's all good. Market is changing. We will continue to adapt. We'll figure out ways to continue to help our clients provide the service they deserve. And we keep at it. And let's bring in more homes, more buyers, more sellers, you name it, right?
Ready.
Yes, absolutely. All right.
See you next month.
See you next month. Have a good one, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.